What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Tori Amos as we move toward the conclusion of Boys for Pele 1996. Thank you once again to Nigel. And the next tune in the playlist is the intriguingly titled In the Springtime of His Voodoo. So again, when I started this album, people said, you know, even for Tori, the meaning of some of these songs is at the very least up for debate or a bit opaque. And in that regard, the phrase here makes me think of, you know, someone's voodoo being that which can entrance or bedevil or otherwise hypnotize somebody. And then in the springtime of something typically means in the most lush and verdant part of its existence, the most lively and youthful segment of its life trajectory, and thus maybe with the full power of his voodoo being in play. So maybe it is about the narrator or someone being entranced by this voodoo, which I doubt we're talking literally about voodoo or voodoo. So in that regard, I do think it's probably used idiomatically or in terms of the more common usage in, you know, colloquial parlance. I feel like I'm getting pretentious here, so let's just get to the song. But yeah, I'm intrigued by the title, and I wonder what I'll be able to pick up on a first listen and what I'll be able to do with that in terms of interpretation. This is Tori Amos. The track is In the Springtime of His Voodoo, and it's from her 1996 album Boys for Pele.
Walk down, just keep going, boy, let me watch you, yeah. Let me, yeah. Ooh. Got an angry snatch, 'cause you know what I mean. I'm swearing that a hip doesn't do the trick. Me, a pure inside, naturally, Mr. Zulu. I walk, speed, I walk, speed, springtime of his voodoo. Springtime of his voodoo. Hey, yeah. Every right that's what I do. I know she's not that foxy, but yes. I said I know she's not that foxy, but you gotta owe something, and sometimes you gotta owe. When you're young, I'm out of sunshine, and you got to give something, and sometimes when you're the sweetest cherry and the apple pie, I need someone to do all these bread. Shoo. Springtime of his voodoo. Yes, he was going to show me spring.
Where do I even start unpacking this? I will say lyrically, I was struggling to catch up the whole time, in part because I was fascinated by the sonics and her vocal performance, and even though over the course of the tune we heard those dynamic and in some cases whispered and then suddenly bigger, like a lot of the vocal dynamics I've heard from her before were in this, but especially in the first couple minutes, it felt like maybe the most unique, which I get it, unique is an all or nothing quality, it can't exist in degrees, but bear with me as I use the word colloquially, the most unique vocal performance from her I've yet heard, because at the beginning it was almost like she was like hyperventilating, she was in a really like keyed up emotional state, and she was sort of breathlessly, like interjecting, like even, sort of making sounds more than forming full words, and it was like she was, again, short of breath or like so worked up that it was hard for her to articulate. Now, again, I imagine that is done for effect. It was done very deliberately, but I believe that she was like so worked up or so intensely psycho-emotional in the moment that the vocal delivery conveyed that inner intensity. And yeah, so sonically, like number one, the main configuration of the tune kind of has this like improv jazz club feel to it, and again, like a bit of tambourine, a bit of like, the snare is like hitting on the side of the snare, so it's not that like pop snare, but kind of like that wood tap sort of snare. And the piano, it felt like, we hear piano in not every Tori song, but most Tori songs, or many Tori songs. This felt on the lower end of the piano more than a lot of what we heard. And that's not to say that there weren't some moments where it was higher in terms of the pitch and the melody, but a lot of it was on the lower end, giving it this kind of weight and heft to the piano ingredient in the larger sonic sound or configuration. So that really did stand out to me. But then obviously it would shift into these like late Baroque, early classical period with like harpsichord and bowed cello. So that was like, it was a notable like night and day shift. And then eventually we did, I think, hear them in unison, or, the sort of two sides of the tune running concurrently. But yes, the first time it went into that sort of Baroque style, it really struck me because it was like, oh wait, suddenly like this gives it a different atmosphere, more of a throwback feel, more of a like refined and yet perhaps fragile sound to it. And then again, going back into this like smooth, casual, almost improvised jazz type configuration. So I enjoyed the sequencing and the two-sided nature of the track, even as Tori, navigated her way through both sides of it with equal adept flow. So yes, I enjoy the vocal performance, which was again striking and perhaps different from a lot of what I've heard her do, and I enjoyed the way the song kept kind of giving me like these two different phases back and forth and then eventually together. So as I said, I don't really know what's happening. I did hear the title phrase, and she seemed to use the title phrase, and what was the line, like he was going to show me the springtime, something like that. There was a moment also where I think she called him like Mr. Zulu, which obviously kind of rhymes with voodoo, but I wondered like the essence of that meaning. As someone who studied a bit of like Zulu history, which is sort of like a conglomerate of many different like Bantu and Swahili speaking peoples, which again I'm guessing this is not like a direct reference to that cultural history, but maybe just kind of using it in terms of something exotic or something that is complicated, perhaps. So yeah, I really don't know what's happening lyrically, but I'm very impressed vocally and sonically. So I look forward to people's comments. Do let me know what you think, and Luca the Comatose Cat and I will see you next time. Peace.